In terms of things that you should not do if you're looking to grow a great culture virtually is number one, avoiding conversation or your team entirely. So, a lot of times, again, I'm going back to that leader that's probably a little bit burnt out in themselves. They are in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, or they're talking with clients. And so the entirety of their day is spent outside of engaging with their team. And understand that has to happen on certain days or somewhat, but you can't avoid conversation or your team entirely. Another thing that I often hear is, well, I don't want to have a conversation because it's just going to be negative and deconstructive, and there's nothing I can do about them complaining. So you may get some of that. But what you need to do is structure the conversation in a way to go, I understand that you guys have grievances and concerns, and I want to make sure that you have the proper channels to vent and do that. But I also want to make sure as a leader that I can help you overcome those battles. So I want you to come prepared with your grievance, but I also want you to give me some solutions of how you think that we can overcome that together. Because you don't just have to avoid it if you're concerned it's going to be complaining. You can kind of use that coaching methodology to make sure you're having a constructive conversation. Number two is overscheduling activity. Now, again, every single culture is different. And so if you have probably like a younger team who doesn't necessarily have a lot of family engagements or other responsibilities, then you probably can get away with meeting or having culture building activities more often. I think back to a lot of the places I worked at as a younger person and, starting my career and wanting to meet people in a new city or just feel like I'm not alone, especially now we've got a lot of people that perhaps living in a flat by themselves. So they're actually looking forward to these activities. But
Mhm.
you may have a team that has families or other engagements or is caring for people. And therefore, having something constantly happening all the time is just going to turn them off completely. So listen to your team and only schedule it as much as people feel like they want to get involved. And again, you can let them drive it for you and let them make those decisions in terms of how often is good enough. A no is only scheduling culture building activity out of office hours. I laugh when I say this because I think there is a definite need to make sure that when we have office hours that we are delivering to our customers as much as possible. And I know
Mhm.
the lines are blurred these days and a lot of customers are probably reaching out to you more than they were before this pandemic. However, having 1 hour out of a 40-hour work week to allow your team to talk to each other and to make friends in their office is not going to ruin your business. You are not going to stop trading because you gave up 1 out of 40 hours. And it's
Yeah.
important that we put that perspective into play. Because a great example is if you only do things on Friday after 5 p.m. Well, how many people are going to have to leave on Fridays at 5 p.m. because they have other things that they need to do? And so what happens is that person never gets to get involved in talking to their colleagues. And there's a real famous question on a lot of American employee engagement surveys that says, do you have a best friend at work? Which the British equivalent of that is, do you have a friend at work? Because we don't necessarily use that phrase over here. Um, that only happens when people feel like they have time to get to know each other. And if I'm always going to you and saying, Heidi, where's that report? Heidi, where are you with this? Heidi, can you tell me an update on what's happening with this customer? Then we might have that small talk at the beginning of the day to go, how
Mhm.
was your weekend? And you've got that 5 minutes back and forth, like, oh, it's fine. Okay, done, straight to work. Then I'm never going to get to know you. And the more that I know you, the better we're going to work together because the more I know your personality, the more I know what you like and what you dislike. And so great cultures aren't a bunch of best friends, okay? They are colleagues, but they're people who know each other and they understand each other and they actively try to work together. And that happens not when we're talking about a report, but when we're talking about things completely outside of work. And so you need to think about that trade off because number one, it's going to make your your team work together better, but they're also going to feel so appreciated because a 40-hour work week is most of our lives. And so if we feel like we have an hour back, we're going to really respect and value the employer that respected and valued us by doing
Yeah.
that.